I build automations for businesses. And if you asked me to automate your entire course business, I'd probably tell you no. Which sounds a little strange coming from someone who literally builds automation and connected systems for a living. But I think we've reached a point where businesses sometimes treat automation like the goal. If a human is doing it, automate it. If it takes 5 minutes, automate it. If someone has to think about it, apparently now we need AI. And that's where I disagree. Because some of the worst automation decisions happen when we automate something that was never really a technology problem in the first place. The rule I use is much simpler. Before I automate anything, I put the work into one of three buckets: automate, assist, or keep human. And the difference comes down to one question: does this need an action or does this need judgment? Because I'm very happy to automate the action, but I'm much more careful about automating the judgment. Let's start with the easy stuff. Someone buys your course, they need an account, they need the correct access, they need a welcome email. They probably need to be tagged correctly in your CRM, which is basically the place where you store and track information about your leads and customers. Nobody needs to hold a committee meeting about this. Payment received, give them the thing they bought, that belongs in the automate bucket. The same goes for appointment reminders, delivering a lead magnet, sending a receipt, updating a customer record, or reminding someone that their payment failed. These are all predictable. The same thing happens again and again. And most importantly, the rule doesn't really change. It's like a traffic light. Green means go, red means stop. You don't need a person standing beside every traffic light deciding what red means today. That is exactly the kind of work I want technology doing. But then we get into the second bucket: assist. And I think this is the bucket most businesses overlook. Assist means technology does the gathering, sorting, checking, and preparing. But a person still makes the decision. Take lead qualification. Let's say someone applies to work with you. Your system can collect their answers. It can tell you what program they're interested in. It can show whether they've bought from you before. It can show which emails they've opened, what pages they've visited, and maybe even whether they meet the basic criteria for your offer. Great! Bring all of that together. Save the person on your team from opening 7 tabs and conducting a small archaeological dig through the CRM. But does that mean the system should automatically decide qualified? Not qualified? Goodbye forever? Not necessarily. Because maybe their application looks weak, but they were referred by one of your best clients. Maybe their revenue is below your normal threshold, but there's context that makes them a strong fit. Maybe they meet every number on paper, but are still completely wrong for the program. A rule can spot patterns, but a person can understand context. That's the difference. Sales follow up is another good example. I absolutely want automation involved. If someone attends a webinar, clicks the offer, visits your sales page 3 times, replies to an email, and then talks to someone on your team, your salesperson shouldn't have to hunt for all of that. The system should prepare the information. It might even flag, hey, this person looks interested. Excellent. That's useful. But I may still want the person deciding what to say next. Because, hey, Sarah, just bumping this to the top of your inbox is probably not the ideal follow up if Sarah emailed yesterday saying her father is in hospital. The automation isn't evil, it just doesn't know enough. And that brings us to the third bucket: keep human. This is anything where the quality of the decision depends heavily on judgment, empathy, strategy, nuance, or the relationship. Imagine you run a coaching program. One of your students suddenly stops showing up. They haven't logged in for 3 weeks. They're not opening emails, they're falling behind. The system can absolutely notice that. In fact, I want it to. That's definitely useful information. But what happens next? That may need a human. Maybe they're overwhelmed. Maybe they're confused. Maybe life happened. Maybe they hate the program. Those are very different problems. And sending all 4 people the exact same, we noticed you haven't completed Module 4. Remember, consistency is key, might technically be efficient. It may also make your business sound like it was raised by a motivational fridge magnet. The system should spot the signal. A person should interpret it. Same with customer support. If someone asks, "Where's the webhook?" Please automate as much of that as you reasonably can. Nobody needs Samantha from customer success personally typing, "Click module 2, then resources" for the 400th time. But if someone writes, "I'm really disappointed. I've been struggling for months. I've contacted support twice and I want a refund." That's different. Now there's history, there's emotion, there may be a policy issue, there may be a genuine customer experience problem you need to know about. Your system can prepare the case, show the purchase date, show their payment history, pull their previous support tickets, show their course progress, put everything in one place, and that is brilliant automation. But then, let a human read it and make a decision. Because keeping humans involved does not mean keeping everything manual. That distinction matters. Sometimes when I say, "I wouldn't automate this," people hear, "So someone has to do everything by hand?" No. Think of it like going to a doctor. The technology can take your temperature, it can pull your medical history, it can show test results, it can organize the information. What you probably don't want is the printer looking at the results and announcing, "Congratulations, I have chosen your treatment." Technology should make good judgment easier, not pretend judgment isn't necessary. And this is why, when I look at the business process, I don't start with, "What can we automate?" Instead, I start with, "What actually needs to happen here? Is this a predictable action with a clear rule?" Then automate it. Does someone need good information before making a decision? Assist them. Does the situation depend on empathy, strategy, context, relationships, or a judgment call? Then keep a human in it. Because the goal is not to build a business where humans never touch anything. The goal is to stop humans wasting their time on work that machines are perfectly capable of doing so that they have more time for the work machines are bad at, like thinking, deciding, connecting dots, having difficult conversations, noticing when something feels off, building relationships, and taking ownership. So, yes, I build automation, a lot of it, but I wouldn't automate your entire course business because a smart system isn't the one with the most automation. It's the one that knows where automation should stop. Automate the action, not the judgment.